Welcome to the TFO podcast, where guests get to give their thoughts, feelings, and opinions on a variety of subjects. This podcast is hosted by your very own Stacy Cook, and as always, sponsored by Fool's Guide Life Coaching. Follow me on all social media platforms. So give it up for our guest today. Yeah. We are live on air. All right, so just like with all the guests, we're going to start off with the introduction. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Autumn. I guess for the purposes of the podcast, I'm better known as the Zaza Princess or Tsunami because I'm waves.
Okay, all right. First of all, you spent a lot of your pre-Zaza Princess time doing normal stuff. Give us a little bit of a background on your education.
So I guess as a high schooler, I went to like a half alternative school. So I did some like online schooling to get done early, so I could graduate early. So I did that and went to school to be a CNA, and I was a CNA until I was about 19.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I turned 19, I became an LPN and went on to be a nurse and do some fire science stuff. So ended up being like a volunteer firefighter and all of that. And then I moved to Chicago kind of in between that. So while I was an LPN, I moved to Chicago. And I was going to school, kind of like I would say a career student.
I remember the career student times as I was paying the career student bills.
Exactly. So basically the thing about that, I guess I would come to the understanding at this age now, like in healthcare, I feel like my calling always was to help people in some certain type of way. So I always thought that the easiest way to do that would be like a nurse or a firefighter, something like that. So I went to do that, but then working in the hospital, I kind of realized that a lot of the people that I work with don't really know what's going on.
Okay.
They're kind of lost. They're kind of confused, and that's like really frustrating to me. So out of not trying to be ignorant myself, I kind of found myself stuck in the school circle, basically, of going back and back and back and back. And then I kind of felt like, okay, I'm over school. Okay, yeah, like I did enough school. We're done with school. So then I finally kind of just settled into the volunteer firefighter nurse category and was doing that.
Because I'm a parent of somebody that has all of the ability to go and get what we would consider, old people would say, a regular job, a 9 to 5, or for people that work in nursing, sometimes it's graveyards, it's kind of a big thing. It's kind of hard for somebody in my shoes to understand why somebody wouldn't take that path well traveled to just get a regular paycheck that's a good check. You're helping people, you're doing your thing. It just is hard for a parent to understand why you picked to do something different.
Like I said, I moved to Chicago at a certain point in very young. I would say 17, 18-ish.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Right before my 18th birthday, I think. I was like fresh 18. I just wanted to be gone. I didn't want to answer to anybody. I was like, I'm out of here. I've been grown for 1,000,000 years. So when I got out there, it was like, okay, here, all my friends are working at the movie theater. And the gas station, or like crappy jobs, Walmart, something like that. And I'm not saying like crap, but I'm saying not career jobs, And I kind of came to the conclusion that like, while the working for another place, you have to make sure that you're not like, some people are just okay with saying, I need a paycheck. So I'm gonna go to work and I don't care who I work for. I'm not one of those people. I'm like, you don't have no morals. You guys are kind of slow in here, you know what I mean? Like, you guys are not really, like, the things that you guys are saying are not really, they don't match what your, your mission statement,
right?
Things like that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, your mission statement says this, but I'm walking around this place and it's looking like ain't no mission here. You know, mission impossible is what it's looking like, really, you know.
Right.
So after doing all that, when I would go out there, I realized, like, okay, I'd go to these jobs, and it was like, man, as a nurse, you could fill out 100 applications in Chicago a day, and you will have 100 jobs. I mean, I ain't kidding. Yeah. You could be the worst. You could be the neighborhood nanny. Like, I mean, not the good one either. Right. Like, just the neighborhood auntie. That's who you could be up in somebody's nursing home taking care of people, okay? With a big slap on the button. Okay, and you're off. So, with the bills being the way that they're set up out there, it was like, I need another job. That's not a paycheck job, unless it's going to be the opposite week. Because I need a paycheck, like, every day at this point. You know, my first restaurant job. It was in Aurora Mall, and it was Tilted Kilt. Yep. That's what it was. Yep. And I was just like a regular server, you know. I started there, and I'm like, man, this place is kind of running slow, you know. Right. Like, before this, it was weird. Like, I kind of have always been the employee where it's like people call off, they're like on the phone, Autumn, where you at? Being over there just kind of putting in a lot of work and stuff more than I guess the other people, I ended up getting like a management job. Yeah. So once I got that management job, I was like, okay, I'm on a step up here, you know. I'm like, I'm running it. I can manage and get tips at the same time, you know, and now I've got this nursing job, and I'm like, and they got management nursing jobs too, so let me go ahead and get one of those too, you know. Right. So I get myself all these management style jobs, and just from being a manager, I guess, in a big city, I started to go to meetings and stuff, meet bigger corporate people who had owned businesses and stuff like that, and then I kind of realized that there was maybe something about me or something that all of these people seemed to have liked. And when I got a little bit older, as the time went by, it was the capability of making money.
So let me ask you this, because I always thought as a parent, I was like, she's making too much money. I thought if you were making less money, you would be more apt to do the normal stuff that I thought that you should be doing. If she only is making this amount, she's going to need to really focus on doing school so she can get her school done, so she can get these jobs. But when you were working all those hours, you were making a lot of money.
A lot, yeah.
So when you're making that money, I'm like, this is not a positive thing. I know
with
it
no
seems,
kids.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
No
and
kids
it
either.
seemed positive, but then it was not. So I think when I very first realized, I'm like, Autumn is doing some things that like regular folks aren't doing. Is you sent me a picture from your seats at a Bulls playoff game. I don't know if you remember that, but you were sitting.
Yeah, I was like 19, I think. Yeah, maybe 19 or 20.
And you were sitting pretty much in the front, like
the second or
third row at the playoffs, and I was like, okay, I can't afford that ticket. Like, I don't know how. I mean, I could. Yeah. Obviously, I could afford the ticket, but I would not want to pay that ticket to go see the game. I wouldn't have paid that ticket. Yeah. So.
I guess like that kind of ties into, this was pre-kid, I guess, at this time. So my job at Tilted Kilt, now that was a blessing. It's like, if I didn't ever have that job, I would say a person who's grown up like me in just a regular house where my mom and dad, they don't sell drugs, they don't you know what I mean? Right. Like, you know, they don't commit crimes.
We don't commit crimes.
They don't commit crimes. They're very square type people. So with that being said, it's kind of like I come around to all these people and I start meeting Jerry. Jerry was the owner of the business that I worked for or whatever. I'm a general manager now, so I've worked my way up to bar manager, assistant manager, general manager. Here I am, 21st birthday. I'm a general manager somewhere. I remember you guys coming out there and being like, I don't know if you really are. And I'm like, no, really. I'm running the place here. Right. Like, this is,
And you are,
So, with being around these people, I started realizing, like, okay, this person owns this, and this group of people is an important group of people, and all these people are having lunch here every weekend. I need to talk to these people, I guess, to keep them happy as, you know, customers and stuff. So I remember I met my friend Scott, and Scott used to come in every single Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Mm-hmm. And finally, I think he came in for like 2 months. And I was like, who are you? Yeah. You're here a lot. You know, you want to drink. What's your name? Blah, blah, whatever. I finally ended up learning that he used to be a Cubs supervisor or some part of a management team, but now he was a baseball scout. Right. So it was like, oh, cool. You know, like I've never met any professional baseball person, you know, and here you are, you're a Cubs, Sox, you know, just everyone, you're scouting everybody. So then it would be like he would come in on a Tuesday and he'd be like, I have tickets to the game on this day right behind home court. Here, you can have them. Yeah. Or here's this or here's that. Or, oh, my friends are giving these away. Do you want me to get them for you? I'll get them for you. So I started meeting people like that. And then kind of like going forward from that, other managers were getting hired. Mm-hmm. And they would come from places like strip clubs. Okay. Or nightclubs, or like supper clubs.
Oh yeah,
supper clubs. Supper clubs. Yeah. You know, they're kind of like they serve food, but they're kind of dancey and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I met a person who had worked at a place, a piano bar, for a long time. Okay. And I started working down there, and then I realized when I was working there that it was like a famous stop or like an attraction for Chicago. So when I was working there was a lot of people who were performing there, and I just got to meet all these people. Well, one of the nights it was kind of like a remix sort of night. It was weird. It wasn't like a regular singer's day. Right. It was a Do or Die and Twister and Bone Thugs and Harmony day. It was funny. I remember it as clear as day, and they had a bunch of like really random like security guards, and one of them was like a curly-headed guy, and he reminded me of somebody who would be on like Superbad or right. You know, something like that, like some silly like comedy show, you know. Mm-hmm. And his name was Sean, and he ended up being like super cool. He was from California, and he knew all these people, and he owned a party bus. Like, they were on the party bus, touring the world, you know, all this stuff. So I'm like, oh man, you know, that's cool. Not really like, nothing ever really came of that, you know. It was just a kind of a friend that I knew until now. Now it's one of my best friends. Right. But back then it was just kind of like, okay, cool, I met this person. And then that person kind of introduced me to other people. But once I got into where I was working in the nightclub stuff, it was like, I would drive from Chicago to here and I'd have all these ones, and I'd be like, I made $2,000 yesterday and my rent's $800, and I'm gonna work 30 more days this month because I have no kids and nothing else to do, no family there, so I'm gonna work from 11 a.m. to whenever and go crazy.
So let's talk about that. So one of the things, obviously, when people say that somebody's in a club and they're making $2,000 in ones, people are going to get an idea that that person is dancing. So help people understand how somebody can make $2,000, but they're not doing those things.